Okay, a second video about grammar today, because I'm a little bit worried. Well, I'll take the time since this shouldn't take very long what's up here. I got thinking about this and I think I can finish morphology by Christmas, I think. I think syntax is going to have to wait until afterwards because this is not the only thing I want to do. So I thought, well, I better watch. I got to keep this moving along. All right, so on we go with nouns. This is on page 9.1, and GB meaning would mean grouped by meaning. There are various kinds of nouns, and if you group them by meaning, well, then here are some of the kinds. There are common nouns versus proper nouns. Now, this has nothing to do with what they look like, or how big they are, or how they're formed. It's what they mean. So a dog, a day is that's a common noun. The difference, I hope, kids usually learn this pretty early because it's very important for writing English. Common is when you're not speaking about one particular one. Now, if it's Friday, now that's a proper noun. Friday, that's capitalized. You see, in English, we capitalize our proper nouns. We're supposed to. It's interesting that in German, and I fully intend to go on and teach some German, teach a lot of German in this class, to create a German class. In German, if you're writing formally, you capitalize all nouns. All nouns are capitalized in German. I think it's really interesting. But to write English, you've got to be able to figure out, well, which do you capitalize and which don't you? A dog. Well, Paige is my dog. That's the name of my dog. One of these days, she's going to come running in and greet me probably in the middle of a class. Well, I capitalize Paige because that's the one and only. If I talk about faith, what is your faith? Do you have a religion? What is your faith? I wouldn't capitalize it. If faith were capitalized, now I'm talking about a girl. Sometimes there's a girl or a woman who's named Faith. Then I would capitalize it. That's the distinction. Islam. Now then it's in term back to the idea of religion. If it's a specific faith, Islam, now it would be capitalized. So those two differences, they become very important in English, and it's taught very early because it's part of spelling and it has to be driven into the kids' heads. Then there are, again, if you're grouping them by meaning, you can consider, well, is a noun concrete or abstract? Concrete basically means you could touch it, you could measure it, you could weigh it, you could feel it. A dog is concrete. Rain is concrete. The Statue of Liberty is concrete. Notice that I put a phrasal noun in there. That's one noun, Statue of Liberty. So it's true, it's a phrasal noun, that's right. If you want to talk about how it's formed, if you want to talk about its meaning, well, it's a concrete noun. As a matter of fact, it's a proper concrete phrasal noun. You could get very mixed up with this if you didn't realize that you're using different measures. An abstract noun you can't exactly measure. Happiness is abstract. Fear is abstract. Christianity is abstract. Now there's a proper noun, Christianity, but it's abstract. It's an idea. I thought about that's one of those points where I decided I can't get into the Latin too much because abstract. These are Latin words, and it might help, but I think it would slow us up too much. So there's those two kinds. Then there's still another way if you talk about what they mean. There are individual nouns. Nouns that basically where you can count. How many grains are there? How many grains are there on the beach? You could pose that question. Now, but you would not say how many sugar, though. You could say how many grains of sugar are in a teaspoon, but you would say how much sugar. You see, sugar is a mass noun. How many dogs do you have? You could count the dogs. How many? How much love do you have for the dog? Now, if you say, how many loves do you have? You can do that too. A word like that, you could treat it as an individual noun, but basically it comes down to, do you say how many or how much? How many Statue of Liberties are there? Well, there's only one, but still you could say, how many are there? If you said how much, well then, how much of the Statue of Liberty did you paint? I guess you could do that. This isn't crystal clear, but you'll run into these things, and they become important. Water, how much water? How much water is there? These are mass nouns. And yet there are other nouns that are, you would say how many, like how many herds of cows are there in Bedford County? Well, yes, but the noun is already collective. It's already plural. Different animals have different ones. Some of them are quite funny. And I'll love to ask the kids, and they're so proud if they know. A pack is a pack of wolves. You wouldn't say or a pack of dogs. You don't say a herd of dogs. You don't even say a herd of sheep. You say a flock of sheep. A pride is a group of lions. A pride of lions. And some kids always know it's a pod. What's a pod? Well, I think a pod is a group of whales, I believe. A gaggle is a group of geese. There are some pretty peculiar ones. But there's also a pair, like a pair of lovers. A pair. Already there's two of them there. So these are various kinds of nouns. Maybe not absolutely critical that you know this, but I'm trying to teach you all the average student of foreign language ever needs to know about nouns. And it does become important, this business about is it mass or individual, because someone studying English has got to decide, am I going to say how many or am I going to say how much? And when you go into a foreign language, you run into the same thing. I guess I'll take the time to say hair, for example. Hair in English, you say how much hair did you cut off? How much hair do you have? Not too much hair. But in one of the languages that I know, and I think it's German, if you cut your hair, you would make it plural. You would cut the hairs. The hairs. Go get your hairs cut. I think it's German. I'd have to speak them for a while. But anyway, it varies from language to language. Sometimes things are mass and sometimes they're individual. All right, so much for grammar today. See you tomorrow. No, don't go away. I want to go back to the chronological survey.